you doing, Kaylin?
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Woo!
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday, and it flooded in Ames again last night.
Woo!
Jeez.
Yeah, take these.
So I had to get my, scuba gear.
And my little floaties.
Yeah. Okay.
What are they? Little floaties?
Yeah, they're little mermaids.
Oh, they're little mermaids.
Yeah, I thought those were cute for
Those
you. Little
were,
mermaids.
thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
Little
So,
mermaid.
yeah. They didn't have adult size floaties. So I had to get the kids.
I think that's probably a reason.
But this is the adult size, and my gosh, that's tight.
Oh, maybe you can go scuba diving
No.
in the near future. If you're
I
going
did
to
that
Florida,
once.
you could be like,
I could, yes.
Spot that you want to go.
I did go on a cruise about 2 years ago, and my cousin is scuba certified.
Oh, yeah.
And so they let us go on a guided one,
Mm-hmm.
and that was interesting. Of course, when you do the guided one when you're not experienced, you just kind of go off the shore.
Oh, right.
So you don't see much.
Right. You're like, where are all the cool fish?
I know. There wasn't much. So, I mean, it was really for my cousin because she's the one that's certified. And so
yes.
it really wasn't a great experience for her because she didn't really see a whole lot either but she could go off on her own and, have a good time. But yeah, but this is, this sucker's tight.
Yes, you can go on 13th Street and you can see Kaylin diving in.
I know. I could rescue the postal worker that was stuck under there the last time. Yes. That was funny. But the underpass under 13th Street under the railroad, that was flooded during the night. And so, don't go through there.
No, actually, I know my stepson that lives in Des Moines too. He sent me a picture of right outside their house is they back out of their driveway,
Oh, yeah.
And it was like a river the other day running through, in front of their house. So I'm like, dude, you need to get like a paddleboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't that be kind of fun? Paddleboarding down.
But it's becoming a common thing and getting very redundant.
It is kind of.
Oh
but even if you have that doesn't necessarily mean that you're in the flood plain.
No, it doesn't. Exactly. So, FEMA kind of determines the flood zone.
Yes.
So if you're in a flood plain, I guess that's sort of a flood plain,
floodplain.
then you need flood insurance.
If you have a mortgage.
If you have a mortgage, right. So if you are living in these areas where you're getting this kind of weird water issue, that doesn't necessarily mean you're in a floodplain.
Right.
Unless FEMA comes in as a disaster area and they redraw the maps and all that kind of stuff. So you have to, that's one of the things we have on a mortgage is flood certification, right?
We do. So as soon as when you're buying a house, one of the things that we pull and the appraiser pulls is flood maps.
Yep.
And most of the time, when you're listing a house, whether you're in the floodplain or not. Right?
Yes, they do. Yeah. And I use the assessor site. Well, sometimes has that information too.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they have overlays on their aerial maps and whatnot. So, and they know, I mean, if they're in living here, you kind of have an idea of what would and wouldn't be in a floodplain. Right. So, But just because you have water in your basement doesn't mean you're in a floodplain.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're buying a house, we're going to pull those maps and determine if you're in the floodplain or not.
Right.
And if you are in the floodplain, you have options.
You do have options. You have you can have flood insurance.
Yes, which you actually have to have.
Which you have to have.
You have to have it. But there are, depending on the type of loan that you have, there's two options for flood insurance. So if you're doing a conventional loan, there are people that have what we call private flood insurance.
Oh, okay.
So basically it's a whole bunch of people with a lot of money that pooled their money together and they offer private flood insurance.
Okay.
And then if you are doing a government loan, you have to do the government insurance policy.
Okay. And so they have a national flood insurance program. And if you want more information about that, you can go to www.floodsmart.gov and learn more about that. But that's the National Flood Insurance Program is for federal funding, helps reduce the cost of flood insurance for those impacted by flooding.
Yes, and so I did find out you can actually get flood insurance if you're not in the floodplain.
Really?
Yes, which I didn't know after a conversation with our friendly insurance guy
across the hall.
Insurance. Yes, Tim Hibbing. But he said that interesting that if you have it, but you're say the only one on your block, like then they're going to investigate it, and they just want to make sure it wasn't because of bad tiling or
Gotcha.
So it has to be real, and they like more than one person on your block to be affected by the floods.
All right.
So he said only about 1 in 100 people get flood insurance if they're not in the floodplain, because see our previous episodes for just water damage. But you can get something else.
Okay. Interesting.
But he said your deductibles are going to range from about $1,000 to $5,000, and sometimes your mortgage might deem which one you can actually have.
Okay. Interesting.
And you do the private mortgage insurance. It's not mortgage insurance. It's flood insurance.
Yeah.
The private flood insurance, it's about half the cost of the national flood insurance program.
Okay. Interesting.
But
so
depending on your loan program, depends on which one you can have it.
Right. So if you happen to be in a floodplain or don't know if you're in a floodplain,
correct.
Yeah, you might want to find that out.
Right. If you're buying a house, because it will add to the cost of your mortgage payment.
Right. So you want to find out prior to that whole process whether it is going to be in a floodplain or isn't a floodplain, and what that cost of a flood insurance is going to be, and that might make a difference in your buying decision. And you want to talk about it too. If your house now is in a floodplain,
yes,
and you're going to sell, how does that impact your ability to sell?
Correct. Right.
And what your options are.
Because I know too that sometimes if you have a policy, depending on cost and things like that, it can transfer over. There's different things that can happen when you actually have a policy. So that's something to look into.
That would be good. Yeah, absolutely. So maybe in a couple of weeks we could talk about a drought.
Drought. Oh my gosh. Drought.
I know, because
dry land.
Yeah.
You can actually mow and not go through the mower and have it squish, 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 or like have the mud flying up and flinging at you. You gotta wear like goggles while you mow.
I watered my flowers yesterday morning.
Oh, I did too. I mean, I was like, silly me.
I know. But it hadn't rained for a couple of days. So I'm like, they really do need to be watered. They're kind of dry.
Yeah.
But I have one pot that is completely flooded out. I mean, literally, can you get flood insurance on your plants?
I don't know if that's cost effective, Kelly.
It probably isn't. So I'll just go out and buy some new impatiens. They're probably on sale now. But I have one pot that just has been, where it sits is just soaked.
Oh.
And so they've kind of, they're loud. The other ones are looking pretty good, though.
Are they?
Yeah.
Mine are too. Yeah, you haven't had to water them, or if you go away, you're like, they're watered.
You don't have to water. The weeds like it, though, too, unfortunately. I did a little weeding this week. So, anyway. But if you have any questions about flood insurance,
put on your stuff.
And before you have to do this, and go to get out of your house, you might want to find out if you need flood insurance.
Flood insurance. Yes.
Yeah.
See?